Go. Let's get started. Let's go do what we do. Good morning. Guten Tag. Guten Morgen. Auf Wiedersehen. And however else you want to say it. We got a little bit of gap down in the markets. Not much, so like 0.44. You're not really going to have, too much trouble today. It doesn't look like. Flat opens are good in the market. Flat opens are usually the best days to trade, I think. A lot of times when you get a big gap up in the market, it takes out a lot of the range in the market. And so now you're left kind of like chasing things up. I would prefer a flat open like this. When we get something like this, it's a good day because it becomes like a stock picker's market on those particular days. When you get a flat open, what will happen is, most of the stocks will just sit around. But the really hot charts will start to really work its way. So it becomes a stock picker's market on those days. Flat opens are awesome in bull markets and bear markets. They usually portend to something a lot more nasty. So just beware. We're in a good spot here. Let's take a look at the SPY. You're kind of getting same thing. SPY's actually gapping up a tad here. So flat open on the SPY too. We're still just consolidating right around that key breakout mark. The more that we kind of hang out around here, the more likely it is that we're going to break out. Remember that when you have like price levels that are holding down a market or holding it down a stock, there's a level of supply there that's getting absorbed every time you test that level. So, say you have like, and I'm just making up a number, right? Say you have millions of shares of supply at a specific level. Well, every time you test it and test it and test it, you're soaking up that supply. And so that's what really creates breakouts and things like that. So when you start to, at some point you soak up all the supply, there's nothing left, and that's when you go. Let's take a look at the individual stocks because there's really a lot that are moving around today or that are going to be moving around. We have here YY. Let me enlarge this a little bit. YY's got a nice flag breakout here. After its earnings push, had a couple of days of consolidation. Now you're kind of coming back out of range. This thing usually pops right up. When it usually goes at the open. So really keep it on your watch list. Be mindful that it could move really fast. When this thing goes, it really goes. So I always, when I have this one, like I got to watch that first few minutes. I got Yeti on watch. This one, if it has like big dips, I would consider longing it. I would not chase this thing on strength anymore. But one thing with Yeti that I think will happen at some point, if it starts to get like some kind of blow off top, meaning like you're just getting like a big push. So I think maybe like 31, 32. I'd look for a potential short in this one. When you start to get, like if you're at 31, 32, 33, you start getting $5, $6 away from your 9 EMA. That at that point turns into a rubber band short. You've already got the candle completely outside the Bollinger Band, so one more big push would give us a ton of confirmation to take this thing for maybe like a late day fade. If I don't see that kind of blow off top, then I definitely wouldn't short this. Like if it had a weak open, I'm not trying to short this thing. It'll just get bought. This Voyager's got a nice flag pattern over here. Man, there's a lot of stocks and a lot of hot stocks in this market right now. So your watch list is going to be a little bit bigger than normal. That's okay. Just be, real vigilant in how you manage your watch list. I think that's huge, right? Like, where and how you organize your watch list is going to be really important in a hot market because otherwise it gets really easy to just get lost in the shuffle. ULTA had a nice flat top breakout on earnings on Friday. This thing's got really good range for a $300 stock. I'm looking at, for anyone, if we see a big dip in this thing in the morning, we'll watch this thing for a red to green. STNA is probably my favorite chart of the group. You've got an IPO breakout here. Guys, IPO stocks in general, they tend to push harder when they break out because it's a newer issue. They have lower floats. Most of the time that they don't have as big of a following as something that's more established. They can really break out. This one's got a nice look into it. Riot, I actually think this one actually looks great. Not only do you got a flag pattern over here above the 9 and the 20, you're actually pre-market now breaking over the 200 SMA, which has been a lid on this thing for a while, right? It hasn't been over the 200 SMA since 2018 in March. And really it hasn't had even any opportunity to trend for over a year. Now we're starting to get, right, this nice rebound in this thing. If it holds over that 200, I think it's going to have some nice action on it. IQ's looking beautiful here, sitting here on support at the 200 SMA. You're starting to curl over the 9. I think that this one's got really, really good liquidity on it too. Chinese stocks have been hot all year. This one's got a beautiful consolidation. If you start to come out of this zone, I think that this one's got a chance too. You started to peek its head over, over that trend line, started prairie dog a little bit. I think that one's got a nice juice. What's up, Mr. Atkins? How you doing? Huya's the same one. The Huya, the issue with this one is this one moves better than IQ intraday. Its daily chart's really like a poo-poo platter. I'm almost just pretending like this doesn't exist here because it almost looks like a middle finger, right? Which is never a good sign when you trade a stock that's giving you the middle finger. So at that point, I'll probably go with the IQ just for my pagan beliefs. I am a Hindu, and so that's kind of how we roll. Now, Domo's got a beautiful, beautiful trend on it on Friday. I think if you get weakness on this one too, this one, the trend could really set on this one. Watch this support level here around like 39.50. A lot of times if they dump quick at the open, they'll come back to like previous day support and then they'll just rebound on this thing. You definitely want to watch this thing too. If the trend sets on this thing, like you start to see the trend set, you may have to participate and really jump in this thing because it's got sick range on it. And when you get a stock that's like breaking out the highs, it's got like a low flow, it's got, beautiful range, then, anytime you get weakness, even when you think it's extended and you think it's overbought, what'll happen is they can just keep squeezing. Remember, we're just like in the teeth of, right, a bull market the last 30, 40, 60 days, right? Since the new year started and the market's rebounded, it's really been just I guess at the end of December, right? It's really been only a long-only market for the last, 2 months, right? We're in March. We keep waiting for the pullback and it doesn't want to come. The market's super strong right now. So a lot of times you see this type of extended stock, it's had 2 nice days. You're thinking, okay, can't have any more. Then you end up getting a day 3. Once you get into the day 4s, day 5s, it becomes a lot more, more risky. But usually the first 3 days, you can hit this thing on dips or if the trend sets. Hey, Junes, how you doing? Good to see you. Now let's talk about the gappers here. There's a couple gappers that are looking okay. This Derm, it's kind of gapping up mid-pump. What it would need to do is really kind of clear this. If it can clear like this kind of 1380, 14 mark, then that'll put it into the suction zone, guys. So when you have like, when you have like a gap fill here, see this gap right here? That's a suction zone. It's a magnet. Gaps are magnets. They tend to fill back over time. So if you could stay over that 14 mark, you can get into the suction zone. But if it doesn't, if it say it's holding at 11 or 12, I won't try to play this one. I need to have a breakout on my daily chart before I can take an intraday chart. Remember that the daily leads into the intraday. Your daily is the big picture. It's where you get your thesis. It's where you see the bigger levels. Your intraday is for entries and executions and managing your risk, right? So that's where you got to always go with these bad boys. Don't just jump into the party too early or too late because when you get stocks like this too, you can get smoked out, right? We saw that on, you saw that on Friday. Sometimes you can trade these little guys and they're having fun and then the bottom drops off into the close. And if you're not paying attention, right, you can really lose. So you got to, make sure you stop losses. Make sure you have the liquidity you need, right, and protect your capital. PTE, this is another one that looks like a potential short on the gap down. You got right under 12, so if it hangs out under 12, I think this one's going to have some room to fall. You've got actually pretty good range on it. The question is going to be, does it have any liquidity? Normally, it's trading under 500,000 shares. For me to even want to participate in something, I would need to see like 500,000 shares fire off in like maybe the first 10 to 15 minutes. Then I would know that liquidity is there. and then I can really take that thing and have myself a little pizza party. Otherwise, you know, we don't want to do any of that. As always, it's Monday. Let's go do what we do. There is a lot of stocks popping in this market right now, so you guys just got to be really careful with, you know, making sure you're not overextending yourselves, you know, with your watch list, right? Once you have your watch list, you know, really go in and narrow it down, right? Narrow it down like, okay, what are your 5 or 6 or, you know, 7 favorite plays? And keep those on a list, right? You know, keep those in the forefront, in the focus, and that's going to, you know, keep you out of some trouble. When your watch list gets a little bit long in the tooth, short in the cock, what's going to happen? Right, you're going to end up over trading. You're going to end up doing all sorts of funny stuff. And then make sure you don't go counter trend too much unless the setup is just perfect. You know, it's easy right now to want to short stuff and get into that game, but it's, you know, really the money's on the long side right now. Let's go in. Denny BA's been acting like a hoe. I think there's easier trades out there, to be honest. I've been seeing people kind of, it's hard to tell if it's like a long or a short some days. You know, it's more of a scalper's play. Let's go do what we do, folks. There's some action going on. This derm's already starting to get a little bit crazy. So let's see. This thing may just pop off like right at the open. You know, sometimes they do that. We'll see what's going down. All right? Let's have some fun.